Vasishta explained, one should resort to the company of the wise, and in their company one should examine the truth concerning this creation. One should diligently search for the Holy One and adore him. For the very moment such a Holy One is found, half the ignorance ceases in his company. Another 1/4 is dispelled by the study of Scripture, and the last part by self-effort. The company of the Holy One puts an end to craving for pleasure, and when it is firmly rejected by self-effort, ignorance ceases. All these may happen together or one after the other. The company of the Holy Ones. The company of the wise. Well, certainly our behaviours affected by whatever company we find ourselves in. But I suspect there's another traditional Hindu understanding sneaking in here. We've been told often enough that self-effort is what it's all about. But here we're being told that only 1/4 of it is self-effort. Half the remedy for ignorance is the company of the wise. And the Hindu context here, I think, is this one of darshan, the seeing of the Holy One, which is supposed to be spiritually uplifting in itself. This might or might not be true, but there's a lot of dangerous stuff that you're playing with here. People have their idols, music idols, film star idols, television idols, intellectual idols, artistic idols, whatever. And I don't think any of that's got anything to do with self-enquiry or realisation. You might have a revelatory experience when you see your hero, or when you find somebody that you can enter into this personal connection with. Although the personal connection is just one-sided, it's from you normally. The object of worship is completely indifferent to you as an individual. So I think this is a very dangerous thing. This whole guru-disciple thing might have benefits on different levels and different ways, but as far as self-enquiry is concerned, there's no way that ignorance will cease in the company of somebody else. There's no way that, from the point of view of self-enquiry, that you're going to realise the truth of inquiry by looking outwards, by looking to another individual, no matter how holy or wise or adorable they are. The best such a teacher can do is tell you that and direct your attention back to yourself. Otherwise you're getting caught up in their charisma. Otherwise you're falling in love with them. This is the way of Bhakti yoga, so-called devotional yoga, which might be quite a buzz in itself, but it's got absolutely nothing to do with spiritual realisation in the sense of self-enquiry. So we're being fed something here. It's at odds with what's been said in the Yoga Vasistha before about how it's only self-enquiry. It does not depend on anybody else. It doesn't even depend on the study of Scripture. But once you've got some realisation of the notional nature of things, then you've got the option of becoming established in that understanding. And that's when you make use of all resources that you can. There might be a local teacher who holds meetings, somebody who's realised the truth of the Advaita teachings. That might be quite a good point of reference to have. Although there is a danger that it can become the basis of social gatherings, become the language of social bonding, which is terrible. I suppose I should mention this is one reason why I don't like to engage much in the YouTube environment. I'm not doing this to make friends or to be popular. I don't want to be using the Yoga Vasistha, the teachings of Advaita, in order to be chummy. I'm quite happy to be chummy and to be friendly. But when that chumminess is using spiritual teachings as its basis, then things are getting unclear. And I realise that the YouTube thing is about community. So I'm going against the grain here. I'm not interested in having a community based on Yoga Vasistha teachings or on Advaita. Because as soon as you get that, you've got a whole undercurrent of social needs, emotional needs, all the rest of it, which just confuses things. I'm not interested in selling myself as a personality here. This is about self-enquiry. Friendship, guru-disciple stuff, all the rest of it are not relevant to self-enquiry. Self-enquiry is something that you do or you don't. And these videos are simply an aid to it. They're an aid to my own self-enquiry, and hopefully they're an aid to whoever is interested in pursuing self-enquiry. And that's what it's all about, self-effort towards self-enquiry. So these videos, me producing them and you persevering with them, are about self-effort. If that's what you're interested in, then persevere. I'm nobody's guru, except to the extent which I can say, look at yourself. Look at yourself. Look at your emotional longings. Examine them. Understand their nature as infinite consciousness at play. So, worshipping the adorable one should diligently search for the Holy One and adore him. The only way to adore the wise, the only way to adore the holy, is to immerse yourself in the teachings. And this means applying them, applying the teachings and seeing for yourself. This is adoration of the Holy Ones. Anything else, getting caught up with charisma, with their behaviour, with their way of dress, and there's loads of gurus out there. If you want your traditional guru with the long white hair and the orange robes, it's all there for you if you want that. But that's got absolutely nothing to do with self-enquiry, absolutely nothing. So adoring the Holy One is about applying these teachings with the full vigour of your own effort, and not having anything to do with this understanding of darshan, which is supposed to be spiritual uplift through just seeing a holy person. It's not about that. That's just a very exquisite emotion, which is being described as spiritual, but it's a very, very dubious emotion. It's one that ultimately takes you away from yourself. It gives you a buzz, it makes you feel complete for a while, but eventually it's going to leave you feeling severely wanting. It can replace your sense of being with something out there. So the company of the Holy One puts an end to craving for pleasure. It can have the complete opposite effect if you're not careful. So anyway, you need to reject even the company of the Holy One by self-effort. You need to feel complete in yourself. Why should you want the company of the Holy Ones? The teachings are available. But if you feel this need for company of the Holy Ones, then that need needs to be examined. It's indicating a sense of lack within yourself. And that lack is not going to be compensated. That lack is not going to be addressed by anything or anybody out there, unless they tell you to look directly at it and understand your own nature as infinite potential, as already fulfilled.